There are over 1,696 players in the NFL, and we at Brothers Talk Ball respect everything they do to make the game what it is today. Nothing said here is a personal attack on anyone in the league, but we are fantasy football owners, and for far too long we have remained silent. It's time for us to share our voice. It's time for us to have a say. It's time for Brothers Talk Ball. Hey, what's up, y'all? And welcome back to the preseason edition of Brothers Talk Ball. Today is our quarterback edition. Quarterbacks. Now, if this was back in the day when fantasy football was at its peak and you had a plethora of quarterbacks in the league to choose from that made you feel really good inside, hold on a second. I said plethora. I really did. Basically, back in the day when there was a lot of quarterbacks going around in the league had a lot more parity. You got a lot more excited about quarterbacks. But judging by what's in the box, the thing about the quarterback position is, it is not the healthiest position in fantasy football. Now, you're going to watch other shows that are going to tell you things about the quarterback position that they want you to believe. But let's tell the truth. Much like running backs, which we did in another show, quarterbacks is one of the weakest positions in fantasy football because, let's face it, there are really a handful, maybe less than a handful of quarterbacks that you need to have on your team that are going to guarantee you something every week. So, unlike our show where we're going to go into the season and in depth in each position, today all I'm going to do for you is give you a generalized idea of who everybody says the top 10, maybe top 20 quarterbacks are in the league, and give you an idea of how you should think about them. So it's not really our entry into the season show, it's like preseason. So if you're drafting a week or two before the season starts and you want a good idea going into your draft, this is the show for you, all right? So we're going to start with the consensus favorite at number one at quarterback, who's Cam Newton. Now, there's a lot to like about Cam Newton. Cam Newton does share the ball, and he does have good receivers, and he does have his number one receiver from last year coming back this year off an injury. I like Cam Newton. I'm not going to say I don't like Cam Newton. One of the reasons why I like Cam Newton is like the greed that I was talking about. Cam Newton at times likes to run the ball himself. So you will find Cam Newton inside the 5-yard line very dangerous himself. Whereas most quarterbacks are going to hand off or throw, Cam Newton will use his legs to get into the end zone and guarantee for more points that way. So you might want to take a look at him. At number two to everybody, who's my actual number one, Lambeau Field's favorite, you have Aaron Rodgers. Now, Aaron Rodgers, ever since Brett Favre, did he steal the job from Brett Favre? Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. I'm not here to say. But Aaron Rodgers is at least one of two quarterbacks in the league that love to throw the ball. And he also has a team where his defense gets suspect. And here's another important thing that I wanted to bring up about fantasy football as well. If your team's on a team that's not good and they're always coming from behind, that's the quarterback you want on your team. Why? Because he's going to be throwing the ball the whole game, especially when they're down. The thing about Aaron Rodgers is, if his defense is suspect, that means he's great for fantasy. That means that ball is going to be thrown around all day and it's going to be in his hands. To me, he's actually my number one quarterback. If I'm going to draft a quarterback at number one and I have the number one pick, I don't know if I want to go quarterback this year. There's a lot of beasts at running back. But if I am going to choose my quarterback and my first pick quarterback and he's out there, I'm definitely grabbing Aaron Rodgers. Now we have Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson in Seattle, really good quarterback. Another quarterback that uses his legs. So you're going to get rushing yards out of him. Now, how well they gel on offense this year, who knows? But he's always going to put up his numbers. So he's safe for me. You know, I don't feel him in the way other people feel him, but I'm not going to say he's a bad choice. I'm really not going to say he's a bad choice. Next we have Andrew Luck. Now, Andrew Luck is coming off an injury season, but I think he's almost back to form this year. If he is back to form, you need you some luck on your side. Andrew Luck's whole purpose in life is just to throw the football. I think he's almost allergic to running backs. You should check that out, you know what I mean? He might be, I'm not sure. But that man, ever since he came into the league, loves to distribute that ball, and right under him, it ain't easy being Drew Brees. Enough said. For everybody out there that knows fantasy football, knows quarterbacks, knows how the leagues work, you know Drew Brees is going to give you what he gives you all day, all night. They actually shored up a couple of wide receivers for him this year, and they grabbed Fleener at tight end. Now, ever since they got rid of Jimmy Graham, he hasn't had that threat at tight end, but Fleener coming in is going to give him that checkoff, that dump pass that he can get to, the way he played Jimmy Graham when he was over there. And I think I'm looking for a bounce-back season from Drew Brees. Drew Brees, to me, if he stays healthy this year, is going to be one of the number one threats in football this year. Take a look at Drew Brees. Another gunslinger, Ben Roethlisberger. Now, what happened to him? He lost one of his primary targets. Because in Pittsburgh, they just like to act foolish. Nothing personal. Thank you very much. But at the end of the day, Ben Roethlisberger has that offense geared towards him and the way he plays. Yeah, they're going to run the ball when Bell gets back, and that'll shore up some lanes for him. But with the receivers they have now, even still, I think Ben is going to get rid of that ball a lot. So you may want to take a look at Ben Roethlisberger. And Ben Roethlisberger, some weeks has insane, crazy weeks where he'll go for 450 and 5 touchdowns. Something outrageous like that. He loves to give that rock up. So you want to take a look at him. Also, Carson Palmer. Carson Palmer has a very good wide receiver core. The problem with this, he's on a balanced offense. So they like to run and throw the ball. So does he get crazy high yards every week? It depends on the week. But at the same time, they like ball control, they like to control the ball. Now, here's my next pick of a sleeper. This is a sleeper for me. A sleeper this year is, as much as I don't like to admit it, I have to, is Eli Manning. Now, you say, why Eli Manning? A couple of reasons. Now, Victor Cruz is coming back off an injury. And I say this for the Giants. If they get 60 to 70% out of Victor Cruz, it's kind of a win for them. But they also drafted a rookie Shepard. And this guy is crazy on the field. Now, if he opens up lanes for everybody on the field, especially Odell Beckham Jr., the Giants are going to be a very dangerous team in the air this year. And also, their defense is very suspect, which means I think if close games, they're going to be coming back from a lot this year now. If Eli Manning doesn't become the Eli Manning he is sometimes and tend to just wild out and be a gunslinger as he has a tendency to be, I think Eli Manning might be a bet this year to shore up, and he may have a bounce back year, and it might be a year that the ball goes around a lot in New York. They built this offense this year not really about the run. They want him giving that ball out in the air, so he may have a bounce back season. Now, on the bubble for me is, well, not really on the bubble. The cheater. Okay, I'm not going to judge. Who am I to judge? Tom Brady. We all know he's suspended for 4 games at the beginning of the year. But here's my take on Tom Brady, especially after Deflategate. The man is playing personal this year. And a personal Tom Brady is a very dangerous Tom Brady. He has a lot to get off his chest. That war with Goodell, the league commissioner, it went on half the season and almost all of the off season until he decided that he was going to give up his beef. But before he gave up his beef, I think deep down in his heart and deep down in his brain, he wants to shove that Deflategate and all the deflated balls in the world down the commissioner's throat this year. I think he's going to be playing with a big, huge chip on his shoulder. Also, he's on his team that doesn't really emphasize the running game. So as we all know, Tom Brady is maybe the greatest gunslinger in the game right now. So he loves to distribute that ball. And for me, he can have one of those years. He can come back from because think about it. How does this, especially for America, who I love you, America, because you always love a comeback story. You sure do. You really do. And here's the thing. Won't America love it if Tom Brady comes back after 4 games of being persecuted by a commissioner who tried to rip his livelihood from him, tear him apart from the game he loves, and let everybody know. See, that's Tom right now. And let everybody know that he wasn't there to do what he had to do. Tom Brady then gets to come off the bench, much like Joe Montana did at halftime, when he was almost killed for the 49ers and saved the whole season for New England and win the Super Bowl after being suspended 4 games. Ugh. If that happens, literally I will throw up the whole offseason. It'll make me sick to no end if that happens. But I think deep down in his mind, that's how he's going to play this year. You might really want to watch out for him. Next, we have Philip Rivers. Let me explain to you, especially to my brother, Boogie V, who's been a Charger his whole life, who always drafts Philip Rivers, and a couple of brothers in the league that sometimes do. Here's Philip Rivers' season. Every year, same year, just trust me. First half of the season, why is he not always on my team? I can't believe how good he is. Middle of the season, why is he dipping so much? What happened to him after starting like that? End of the season, I am never putting him on my team again. That's Philip Rivers every year in fantasy football, and that's it. And that's all I have to say about Philip Rivers. Moving on. Derek Carr. Now, he has a receiver over there named Amari Cooper, who to me is going to be the prototype of receivers in the league. I said it here first. He's going to be the prototype of receivers in the league in the next few coming years. The man really knows how to play ball. Now, Derek Carr's coming into his own. He's younger. He's getting more experience. You know, the Raiders are building something really, really nice over there. I wouldn't be iffy with him. I think he's a good quarterback to have a solid year. And you might want to take a look at Derek Carr. I'm not saying he's a bad pick. Next, we have America's team, America's sweetheart. Maybe the most durable, maybe the biggest heart. He doesn't just represent his team. He actually he represents America, who I love. And he does it with a star on his helmet because he's a star. His name is Tony Romo. You know his name. Boo if you want, I don't care. Here's the thing. Tony Romo, my quarterback. Now, Tony Romo this year, I think is going to have a really good season. We have a three-headed beast in Dallas that's going to run the ball and pound the ball all year. And they're doing that for 2 reasons. Number one, they saw how successful it was and the success they had when DeMarco Murray was there. And I think they want to repeat that success. Also, running the ball in Dallas keeps Tony Romo a lot healthier. So they're going to need a tight ground game to keep him off. But here's the thing. When you protect Tony Romo and he has a good running game, Tony Romo will go through you like a hot knife through butter. That's how good he is. I'm looking at a good season for Tony Romo. Now, I'm not going to... Okay, listen. Another quarterback you want to take a look at, I think... Okay, I have 2 more sleepers. One sleeper, Andy Dalton. They made some changes at receiving core, but him and A.J. Green, always potent in fantasy football. And here's the thing, I never, okay, I'm going to save it. I'm going to save it for our preseason show. I don't want to give everything up right away. But you might want to look at Andy Dalton. I like Andy Dalton a little bit. The same thing for Matt Ryan. He could be insanely good, or he could be insanely bad. But when he's good, he's really good, and he does pile up those numbers, so you may want to look at him. Now, Ryan Fitzpatrick. A lot of people are going to say, why is this guy mentioning this guy? This makes no sense. Here's why I'm going to mention him. In the offseason, the Jets were making a lot of noise about bringing him back. Now, everybody in the league is like, why is everybody making noise about Ryan Fitzpatrick? Like, this guy, he's iffy. He's in the middle at best. Here's why I like him. It's because of that reason. When your team rallies behind you like this, to get behind you, I think they want to play for you. He has a good relationship with Marshall and Decker, and they were the ones that were really outspoken about bringing him back. And I really, really do believe that if they gel together, it might really work for them. Now, my middle tier to maybe bottom tier, I'm just going to go through a bit of a list. Kirk Cousins in Washington, they drafted another speedster. If they gel, he may do really well this year. If not, maybe middle of the pack because they run the ball as well. Balanced offense, don't know. Jameson Winston, now, he lost weight this year. He's dedicated to the game. So we might see in his sophomore season something special from him. The same with Marcus Mariota. But Marcus Mariota, listen, Tennessee is committed to running the ball this year. They picked up Henry in the draft this year, and along with DeMarco Murray, that's a two-headed beast that I believe has to stay on the ground. Don't know if I trust him that much this year. Ryan Tannehill, Miami went out, did a lot for him as well. We don't know what kind of season he's going to have. Is it going to be a bounce-back season? Is it going to be a season where he comes and really makes his mark and does his thing on the league? Jay Cutler. Okay, so Joe Flacco is coming back from Baltimore off a season where he was injured and the team rallied a lot of stuff behind him to see what he can do. So, okay. Now, Alex Smith in Kansas City, another team that runs the ball a lot. But Alex Smith, he's the thing about Alex Smith is he has really solid weeks sometimes, but really bad weeks sometimes. But he's usually consistent. So I would say, take a look at him. Teddy Bridgewater is another one. They put receivers around him in Minnesota. Adrian Peterson's going to protect him with the run. He actually uses his feet. He's another quarterback that may have a breakout season if Minnesota really gels, because their defense can keep him off the field much like Dallas's offense with the running game can keep Tony Romo healthy. You may want to look at Bridgewater. Now, here. Brock Osweiler. Now, he moved to Houston. Listen, I'm a big believer in karma. A huge believer in karma. Last year, he played in Denver. Helped Denver make it and win the Super Bowl. But then, really went out like a chump. Now, let's face it. Yes, Peyton Manning went down, and you played really well for Peyton Manning. We all understand that. But you were backing up a Hall of Fame first ballot quarterback. Without question. Without question. Now, when he took back his position, it should have been about us. It should have been about the team. And to me, Osweiler just really made it about him. Even to the point that when you get invited to the Black House, sorry, we only have a couple months left. When you get invited to the White House and you decide not to go with the team that you played together with, that you fought together with, that you struggled together with, but you can't go because you can't leave your little personal baby feelings aside and push that out of the way and be there with the men that got you there, I don't know. And really, how big is the chip going to be on your shoulder when you play Denver every once in a while? I mean, my thing is, you better come out this year and do real things, or you're going to get really labeled as a baby and nobody's going to want to hear you, because I just think the way you went out last year, I don't agree with it. And nobody says it in football. Nobody actually points the fingers and says, but this is brothers talk. We talk for real. We're not holding anything back here. So when you really act like that, nobody's really impressed by that behavior. That's very sulky, very bad behavior. So for me, I'm going to be watching you this year. I want to see you shine if you're going to take that. Because you know what? There's been quarterbacks in the past that have done that. Look what happened to Brett Favre. When the Packers treated him bad, he said, okay, I'm going to pack my bags. Then he went to the Jets. Then he went, and everywhere he went, he balled because he had a chip on his shoulder. I'm not saying playing with a chip on your shoulder is a bad thing, but when you act the way you act, you better come out and shine. So I'm looking at him this year. Colin Kaepernick in Frisco. We've already been over the Chip Kelly thing. So really, Kaepernick, sorry you didn't get traded this year. Next we have a rookie in LA. Don't really know what he's going to do. Don't really know what he's Paxton Lynch. I don't know what's going on with Denver with the quarterback position. I think they're going to allow a couple of the cheerleaders a couple of games this year to actually share that position too, since they're playing everybody else at quarterback. Yeah, don't ask. I have no idea what's going on over there. Carson Wentz in Philly. Oh, Philly. Oh, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? You gave up the whole farm. You signed Sam Bradford for $25 million over 3 years. I think that was the deal. And then you basically looked at him and said, yeah, but here's the thing. Just hold on to that money. Hold on to it real quick. Because we're not really going to let you play. But, hey, this is Philadelphia. in the last few years, nothing we do makes sense. Having said that, I don't wish anything bad on the young man, and I hope he does well against every team he plays against, except the Cowboys. And that's kind of what's going on in the league. I mean, we're going to go more in depth into the quarterback position as it comes closer to the league, closer to the season, as it comes closer to the season. But for now, that's kind of just a look at the quarterback position. Now, I'm not doing a separate show. Okay, we're going to move on a little bit. Because I'm not doing a separate show for tight ends. Because this, if you think the quarterback position was thin, wait, tight ends. Tight end is a position in the league now that has done this for fantasy owners. If you can pick up 60 yards out of a tight end, 70 yards out of a tight end, and pray for a touchdown, then you've done work at that position. Because that position in the league now has gone nowhere. Let's go through maybe the top, maybe 6. Okay, Gronkowski. Perennial choice. Some people even picked him first in their league, which I never got. The thing about Gronk this year is you got to watch out because his girlfriend's out for 4 games. So you may want to be iffy about looking at him. Jordan Reed coming off an injury. Washington loves him, part of their system, but who knows how he's going to come off of this season. Greg Olsen last year, because Benjamin was hurt, almost became the number 1 receiver in Carolina, and he does have a really good chemistry with Cam Newton. So I'm not gonna hate on that. That might work. We'll see how that goes, but yeah, we'll see how that goes. Delanie Walker, when the ball gets distributed and it's not on the ground in Tennessee, look for him to do a couple of things. And I think Coby Fleener is going to be maybe your breakout tight end this year because he's with Drew Brees, who since Jimmy Graham left, does anybody remember how good Jimmy Graham was? Jimmy Graham was so good that at one point he was protesting and fighting the league to make it so that tight ends were making as much money as wide receivers. And he almost did it. But the league came to their senses and like, listen, you're a tight end. Let's calm down and relax. But he actually meant that much to his team. And he almost changed that position. Like he was that good at that position. Fleener is with his old quarterback who loves to go to his tight ends. Another one, Jared Cook with Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay, someone else to look at. Barnidge in Cleveland, really good tight end. We don't know if Julio Thomas is going to gel in Jacksonville. If he does, again, he was another one that was one of the best tight ends in the league. Antonio Gates, a classic. Don't know how much he fell off in San Diego. Might want to be leery, but he's still out there. Martellus Bennett, very, very good pickup for New England because, as we know, Brady loves to go to his tight ends. He's a big target at 6'6", and just a huge target. Great hands. So we'll see what he can do with him out there. Again, Jimmy Graham looking for a bounce back season in Seattle. We'll see how that goes. We'll see if they finally gel. And as always, I don't know why people every year overlook this man, but he's going to the Hall of Fame first ballot for sure. We're talking about, I don't think anybody knows this, but maybe 10 straight Pro Bowls? We're talking about Jay Witten in Dallas. Now, you saw how I got upset earlier when I went on about Romo. I'm not going to do it again, but we're talking, this is Romo's partner in life. Are we serious right now? We're talking about Jason Witten. Jason Witten is going to give you production the whole season. Now, whether you like him or not, whether you agree with me or not, doesn't really matter. Jason Witten, great pick in Dallas at the tight end position. And if you're saying I'm just being a cowboy and I'm just making noise, really, go look at fantasy stats. He's always in the top 10 of tight ends every year without fail. And if you don't like that, then what do you want me to do with you? I'm here to make you better. Now, if I get a little, okay, listen, over the course of the year, we're going to say some things you might not like. But if you want safe reporting on football, here's what you can do for me, man. Go to another podcast, right? Go to another site and listen to people talk to you like this. Well, I think Jason Witten's at the tail end of his career, and I'm not really sure if he has what it takes to make it this year. I am really stuck on Gronk. I like Jordan Reed, and also, is that what you, really? You think I'm coming with that? It's not going to happen here. This is Brothers Talk Ball. This is what we do all year round, and that's how it happened. So, for now, that was our quarterback show. Thank you for joining us. As always, this is where you get the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth from the brothers. This is, well, come join us next time. And stay tuned, because it's going to be a long year, and we're going to be here all year. It's your only place to come to watch ball every week. And you know where it's at. This is Brothers Talk Ball.